The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. People will tell you that acting like you've already won is naive, that you're setting yourself up for failure, and that you need to be realistic. But here's the truth. Adopting a victorious mindset is the reality that transforms everything. Champions, philosophers, and leaders throughout history have understood this. They didn't wait for victory to show up. They chose it first. Victory doesn't start when everything finally falls into place. No, victory starts with the decision to see yourself as capable, resilient, and strong, right now. Think about it. How many of us are waiting for a breakthrough? Waiting for that promotion, that relationship, that moment when everything will suddenly be right so we can feel accomplished. Here's the problem with waiting. It means we're putting life on hold, letting our circumstances dictate how we feel and act. This is what the Stoics warned us about. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." So if you're waiting for happiness, success, or peace to arrive from some external source, you're living life in reverse. Today, we're diving into what it means to live from victory rather than toward it. It's a perspective that changes everything. This is for those of you who want to stop waiting and start claiming the strength, confidence, and purpose that's within you, regardless of what's happening around you. Stay tuned, because by the end of this, you'll see why acting like you've already won isn't delusion. It's power. If you find value in what we're doing here, the one simple favor I ask is that you hit the subscribe button and share this video with others on the same path. Today, we're exploring how adopting a victorious mindset, before you see the results, can reshape your entire approach to life. And I'll say this. If you're skeptical, this video might challenge you, but that's exactly why it's worth watching until the end. Let's dive in. Embracing the idea of victory. Too often we tie victory to some grand achievement or milestone, as if success is a place we're trying to reach. We tell ourselves, when I get that promotion, I'll feel accomplished. Or, once I'm in that relationship, then I'll be happy. But what if that mindset is actually what's holding us back? You see, victory isn't about waiting for some big external event. It's about deciding, right here and now, to live from a place of strength, resilience, and confidence. This is what the Stoics taught us over 2,000 years ago. True control lies in our inner life, not in what happens to us. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When we embrace victory as an attitude rather than an outcome, we're no longer at the mercy of what the world throws at us. We stop waiting and we start being. Imagine each day you approach life from the mindset of already being victorious, regardless of your circumstances. That's real freedom. Carl Jung put it beautifully when he said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." Our experiences, no matter how challenging, don't define us. Our response to them does. Living in this way doesn't mean we ignore our challenges or pretend everything's perfect. It means that we don't let setbacks steal our sense of worth. Stoicism teaches us that our power lies in how we perceive and respond to life, not in controlling it. This perspective on victory becomes our anchor. We stop seeing victory as a finish line and start seeing it as a way of moving through life, with purpose, with resilience, and with inner strength. A moment of transformation. There comes a moment in each of our lives when we're faced with a decision. Do we let our circumstances shape us, or do we choose to reshape ourselves from within? This is a transformative choice, and it's often in our darkest moments that we're given the greatest opportunity to find our strength. The Stoics understood this well. They taught that hardship isn't something to merely endure. It's a chance to test and refine our inner character. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the very obstacles we face can become the path to our growth if we choose to let them. Now, this isn't about suddenly feeling joyful or pretending things are fine when they're not. It's about reaching that place of calm resolve, where you realize that no matter what happens externally, you hold the power internally. Carl Jung described transformation as an inner journey, one that requires us to look beyond our external conditions and ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? How can I grow through this? This mindset shift is more than just positive thinking. It's a choice to claim inner stability regardless of outer chaos. In that moment of transformation, you may feel a calm strength replace your fear or a sense of resolve quiet your doubts. That's the power of embracing a victorious mindset. You're not waiting for life to get easier. You're building the resilience to face whatever comes your way. By choosing this mindset, you're no longer a passive observer but an active participant in shaping your reality. And that's when true transformation begins. Not because your situation has changed, but because you have changed. Living in reverse. Here's something most of us don't realize. We often live as if we're waiting for life to give us permission to feel accomplished or worthy. We say things like, "I'll feel successful once I reach that goal," or "I'll be happy once I find the right relationship." It's as if we're moving through life in reverse, postponing our sense of fulfillment until some external condition is met. But the truth is, by waiting for validation from the outside, we're putting ourselves at the mercy of things we can't control. As the Stoics would argue, that's giving away our freedom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Living life in reverse ignores this fundamental truth. We're letting the things that happen to us dictate the way we see ourselves, instead of realizing that how we see ourselves can influence everything else. It's a mindset shift that, when embraced, changes how we experience life from day to day. Instead of waiting for a title, relationship, or achievement to feel whole, we start to live with the belief that we are already whole. We start acting, speaking, and moving through life from that place of inner victory. This idea connects to Carl Jung's belief that what we focus on within ourselves can shape our experience. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes, he said. When we stop looking outside for approval and start living in alignment with our values, we wake up to a new way of being. We stop chasing and start being. Living from this position of self-acceptance and strength means we're not reacting to life's circumstances. We're responding from a place of purpose. This doesn't mean we won't have goals or aspirations. Of course we will, but we're no longer tying our identity and worth to whether or not we reach them. Instead, we're living each day with a sense of victory, knowing that our self-worth is something we cultivate from within. That's how we stop living in reverse and start moving forward, not defined by what we lack, but empowered by what we already have. From adversity to strength. Adversity has a way of revealing who we are. It strips away the surface, the comfort, and the routines, leaving us face to face with ourselves. This is why the Stoics believed so deeply in the value of hardship. They saw challenges not as something to run from, but as opportunities to cultivate resilience, inner strength, and character. Seneca said it best. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. To the Stoics, adversity was like a forge, refining and shaping us into something stronger and more unbreakable. When life throws us a curveball, a health issue, a financial setback, a relationship challenge, it's natural to feel shaken. But here's where a victorious mindset makes all the difference. Instead of seeing these obstacles as threats, we can begin to see them as stepping stones. They become tests of our character and our ability to persevere, and each one presents an opportunity to practice strength, patience, and wisdom. Carl Jung spoke of this when he said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." Adversity may be what happens to us, but strength is what we choose to create from it. Living from a Stoic perspective means approaching each challenge with a mindset that says, "This too is here to serve me." It doesn't mean denying the pain or pretending things are easy. Instead, it's about accepting that the struggle is part of the journey and choosing to see it as a teacher rather than an enemy. The Stoics would remind us that our circumstances do not define us, our responses do. We're not weakened by adversity, we're strengthened by how we choose to face it. Think of adversity as a sharpening tool, revealing not only what we're capable of, but what we're made of. It's in those challenging moments that we find the resilience to keep going, the courage to stay true to ourselves, and the wisdom to learn from every setback. This is what it means to turn adversity into strength. We move forward not in spite of our struggles, but because of what we gain from them. We become stronger, more grounded, and more aligned with our purpose, qualities that no challenge can take away. The power of mental positioning. Mental positioning is about choosing how we see ourselves in any situation, regardless of what's happening around us. It's about claiming a mindset of resilience, victory, and confidence, long before we have any visible proof of success. This isn't about pretending. It's about deliberately setting our minds to view challenges, setbacks, and even mundane daily routines from a place of strength and clarity. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In other words, while we can't always control the world around us, we can always choose our internal positioning. Mental positioning is the foundation of every decision we make. If we position ourselves from a place of defeat, we'll make choices that reinforce that view. But when we choose to see ourselves as resilient and capable, we start moving from a place of power. This shift is transformative because it changes how we engage with the world. We're no longer waiting for life to give us permission to feel successful or worthy. Instead, we're acting from a deep sense of inner strength and purpose. Marcus Aurelius described this as aligning our thoughts with what is within our control, focusing on what can be improved from within, rather than being controlled by what's external. Carl Jung also highlighted the importance of our inner perspective, famously saying, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This is a powerful reminder that our thoughts, often subtle, ingrained beliefs, shape how we experience life. By consciously choosing a victorious mindset, we bring these thoughts to the surface and actively guide them, rather than letting hidden doubts or fears dictate our actions. This conscious positioning allows us to rewrite our inner script, replacing self-doubt with self-trust and hesitation with purpose. Mental positioning goes beyond positive thinking. It's strategic. It's preparing our minds to act, decide, and respond in ways that align with who we want to become. Think of it like a master chess player who isn't just reacting to each move on the board, but who sees the end from the very first piece they place. They're not just playing to survive, they're positioning for victory from the beginning. When we adopt this mindset, we start seeing life's obstacles as opportunities to prove and refine our strength. Each situation becomes a platform for growth, not a threat to our peace. Activate the victory mindset. Activating a victory mindset isn't about putting on a brave face or telling ourselves that everything will magically work out. It's about grounding ourselves in a steady, resilient perspective that acknowledges life's challenges but chooses to face them with confidence and determination. This mindset is about taking control of our inner state, regardless of external circumstances. The Stoics saw this as an essential practice, a way of fortifying the mind to withstand life's storms. As Epictetus reminded us, we suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. The victory mindset is about adjusting that judgment, seeing obstacles as opportunities to test our strength, not as reasons to give up. A big part of activating this mindset is the language we use with ourselves. Our self-talk becomes the filter through which we experience life, and when we choose words of resilience and power, we reinforce our inner strength. Carl Jung understood the impact of our self-perception, saying, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." Why? Because in accepting ourselves fully, we also accept our capacity to overcome, to strive, to grow. And that means no more hiding behind excuses or blaming circumstances. Instead, we step into our potential, fully aware of both our power and our responsibility to use it. To activate a victory mindset, we must also cultivate intentional focus. What we give our attention to grows stronger, and if we're constantly focusing on our limitations or the obstacles ahead, that's what will dominate our perspective. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." So choose to focus on thoughts that empower and uplift you. Let setbacks remind you of your ability to adapt and persevere, rather than become reasons to doubt yourself. Finally, a victory mindset requires consistency. It's not enough to think positively once or twice. It's a daily practice. Just as we train our bodies, we need to train our minds to return to this perspective again and again. By doing this, we lay down a foundation of resilience that becomes our default mode of operation, even when life challenges us. Over time, this mindset becomes less of an effort and more of a habit, a way of approaching life that feels natural and steady. And that's the power of a victory mindset. It creates inner stability, allowing us to move forward not as victims of our circumstances, but as victors in our own lives. Victory as strategic positioning. Victory isn't just a feeling or a lucky outcome. It's a strategic position we choose to adopt, a mindset we cultivate with intention. When we think of victory this way, we're not waiting for life to deliver success on a silver platter. Instead, we're positioning ourselves mentally, emotionally, and even physically to create that success, regardless of what comes our way. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This isn't about trying to control every outcome. It's about choosing how we prepare for and approach each situation, firmly grounded in our inner strength. Strategic positioning means seeing ourselves as victors before we even step into the challenges of the day. Like a skilled chess player who plans several moves ahead, we're not simply reacting to each setback or problem as it arises. We're preparing ourselves to move forward, no matter the circumstances. This perspective helps us remain steady, adaptable, and focused on our goals, rather than being thrown off course by every unexpected twist. Carl Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." When we position ourselves with a mindset of victory, we're no longer relying on external validation. Instead, we're rooted in our inner purpose, focused and awake to our own capabilities. Strategic positioning also requires that we view setbacks as steps within a larger process, not as failures. This shift in perspective is what keeps us grounded when things don't go our way. We're not here to be defined by our obstacles, rather, we use them to refine our path. The Stoics embraced this approach, understanding that the obstacles in our path are, in fact, the way forward. When we position ourselves as victors, we recognize that every experience, whether smooth or challenging, is there to build our resilience, sharpen our focus, and strengthen our resolve. Claiming your identity as a victor. This means you stop seeing yourself as someone who is merely trying to succeed. Instead, you begin to see yourself as someone who is inherently capable of overcoming, growing, and achieving, regardless of the setbacks along the way. It's a powerful shift in self-perception, one the Stoics deeply valued. Epictetus taught that we aren't defined by our hardships, but by our response to them. He said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you start identifying as a victor, you're stepping into the role of self-mastery. You're deciding who you are, rather than letting circumstances decide it for you. Claiming this identity isn't about arrogance or dismissing challenges. It's about embracing an inner strength that sees beyond temporary obstacles and recognizes a deeper potential within. Marcus Aurelius believed that we each have the power to shape our responses, to act with purpose and resilience no matter what's happening around us. He wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, our mindset and self-perception color our entire experience of life. By choosing to identify as a victor, we're dyeing our thoughts, and therefore our lives, with strength, resilience, and determination. Carl Jung also spoke to the transformative power of self-perception. He said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." This is at the heart of claiming a victor's identity. You're not just shaped by your past or by what others think of you. You're actively choosing the person you are becoming, and by choosing to see yourself as a victor, you start acting in ways that reflect that identity. You approach challenges with confidence, speak to yourself with kindness and encouragement, and treat every setback as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. The power of visualization. Visualization is more than just daydreaming. It's a tool to prepare the mind, to set it in the direction of victory before any physical step is taken. When you visualize, you're actively creating a mental blueprint for success. The Stoics practiced this regularly, using visualization as a way to prepare for life's inevitable challenges. Marcus Aurelius, for example, would begin each day by imagining the possible difficulties he might face, from unkind people to unexpected setbacks. He wasn't doing this to focus on negativity. He was strengthening his ability to respond with resilience and calm, preparing himself to face the day from a place of composure and clarity. This practice also connects to Carl Jung's understanding of the mind's power. Jung said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." Visualization is about looking inward, awakening a sense of possibility and capability within ourselves. By clearly picturing what we want to achieve and how we want to feel, we activate those states of mind as if they're already real. This mental rehearsal allows us to approach our goals with confidence and purpose, almost as if we've already achieved them. It primes us to make decisions and take actions that align with that vision, transforming mere ideas into lived experiences. Visualization isn't about creating fantasies. It's about anchoring our focus and reminding ourselves of our own capacity to shape our future. When we visualize ourselves as resilient, composed, or successful, we're training our minds to adopt those qualities in real time. Epictetus once taught that, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Visualization helps us say to ourselves clearly and consistently who we intend to be, and by seeing this version of ourselves in our minds, we create a path for our actions to follow. By using visualization as a tool, we're actively strengthening our sense of self-direction. We're not waiting for external success to validate us. Instead, we're embodying success from within, drawing from our inner resources of strength and clarity. This isn't just positive thinking. It's strategic mental positioning that prepares us to face both opportunities and obstacles with a sense of purpose. Building neural pathways of victory. This is about training our minds to naturally gravitate toward resilience, confidence, and purpose. Think of it as laying down tracks in your brain that guide you toward the person you want to be, regardless of external circumstances. The more we consciously choose thoughts of strength and victory, the stronger these mental pathways become. This idea aligns perfectly with Stoic wisdom, which emphasizes the importance of consistent, intentional practice in shaping our character. Epictetus reminded his students, "We are what we repeatedly do." By repeatedly focusing on thoughts of victory, we begin to wire our minds to operate from that place naturally. Neuroscience now confirms what the Stoics intuitively understood. Our brains are moldable, adaptable. The more we practice a particular way of thinking, the easier and more automatic it becomes. Carl Jung echoed this in his work, pointing out that our habitual thoughts form patterns in our subconscious mind. He said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." By consciously choosing thoughts that align with victory and resilience, we're literally reshaping our subconscious, making strength and positivity our new default. Each time we face a challenge, we're given a choice. Do we reinforce old pathways of doubt and fear, or do we build new pathways of courage and confidence? When we deliberately choose the latter, we're strengthening the mental patterns that support us in becoming resilient, purposeful individuals. Over time, this becomes second nature. Just as a path in a forest becomes clearer and easier to follow with each use, our victory mindset becomes a well-worn mental route, guiding us to face difficulties with strength. This isn't about ignoring reality or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about choosing how we respond to those challenges from a place of inner stability. By actively building neural pathways of victory, we're training ourselves to respond with calm, clarity, and confidence. Marcus Aurelius understood the value of this mental discipline when he wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." By choosing thoughts of victory again and again, we're coloring our lives with resilience, making it a part of who we are. Guarding your mind and choosing your inputs. This idea is about being selective with the thoughts, ideas, and influences you allow into your mental space. It's easy to overlook, but every piece of information we consume, every conversation we engage in, shapes our mindset. The Stoics were adamant about this. They believed that our mental environment is as important as our physical one. Epictetus advised, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." This is a reminder that our surroundings, including the people and media we expose ourselves to, play a crucial role in our mindset and outlook. Choosing positive, constructive inputs doesn't mean isolating ourselves from reality. It means taking responsibility for our mental health and well-being. Just as we're careful about what we eat to nourish our bodies, we should be equally cautious about what we feed our minds. Negative, fear-driven content, for example, can wear down our resolve and color our view of the world, while positive, purposeful information can help us cultivate strength and optimism. Carl Jung captured this perfectly when he said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." By focusing on what uplifts and strengthens us, we're less likely to be distracted by external noise and more able to awaken a deep sense of purpose within ourselves. Guarding your mind also involves creating boundaries that protect your focus and mental energy. In a world that constantly competes for our attention, learning to say no to distractions and negativity is a form of self-respect. The Stoics valued this kind of discipline. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to keep his mind clear of unnecessary thoughts. He encouraged focusing only on what truly matters, on what is within our control. This approach allows us to keep a clear mental space where thoughts of resilience and purpose can thrive without interference. Victory as a position, not a destination. Victory isn't some far-off milestone that we reach after crossing a finish line. It's not the trophy we finally hold or the promotion we eventually secure. Real victory is a position we choose to hold within ourselves, regardless of external outcomes. The Stoics saw victory as an inner state, rooted in resilience, self-discipline, and control over one's mind. Epictetus taught that we should be content to be thought foolish and stupid by others, if that's the cost of maintaining our inner peace and integrity. Victory is less about proving something to the world and more about claiming a state of inner strength that doesn't waver based on circumstances. When we understand victory as a position, we stop postponing our sense of accomplishment and start living from it. Instead of saying, "I'll feel successful when I achieve this or that," we can say, "I am already successful because I am grounded, capable, and resilient." This shift in perspective allows us to find purpose and confidence right now, rather than endlessly chasing a future that always seems out of reach. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Viewing victory as a position rather than a destination is the key to realizing this truth. This mindset also frees us from being defined by external markers of success. When victory becomes a position, we're not waiting on external validation, nor are we held hostage by the opinions or expectations of others. Carl Jung spoke to this when he said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." By choosing to occupy the mental space of a victor, we're not confined by past setbacks or future pressures. We are claiming our worth and power in the present, aligning our actions with our values, and strengthening our resolve with each challenge we face. Living victory as a position doesn't mean we stop striving or setting goals. It means that our goals become expressions of who we already are, not things we need in order to feel complete. This approach gives us a sense of peace and stability, even as we work toward new achievements. We're no longer seeing life as a series of wins and losses, but as an ongoing journey where our inner strength and resilience define us more than any specific outcome. Creating a legacy from your victory. True victory isn't just about personal achievement. It's about creating something that endures, something that others can build upon. When we think of victory as something more than individual success, we start to understand its potential to leave a lasting impact. The Stoics believed in this deeply. Marcus Aurelius saw his duty not just to himself, but to the generations to come. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, victory isn't about applause or acknowledgement. It's about becoming the kind of person who embodies resilience, integrity, and wisdom in a way that inspires others to do the same. Legacy is built through consistency, through living our values and ideals every day, so that others might see the path we've walked and feel encouraged to do the same. When we live from a place of victory, we're not only achieving for ourselves, but laying down a foundation that others can learn from. Carl Jung spoke about this generational influence, observing that the greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. Our legacy is about showing others how to grow beyond life's challenges, demonstrating that victory is possible not by what we've achieved, but by how we've handled adversity. Creating a legacy means viewing our actions through a larger lens. It's understanding that the mindset we cultivate, the way we approach life, will leave an imprint on those around us, family, friends, communities. The Stoics often spoke of sympathia, or the interconnectedness of all people. They believed that our actions ripple outward, influencing not only our lives but the lives of those who come into contact with us. By choosing to live victoriously, we're adding something positive to the collective spirit of humanity, even in subtle ways. This legacy of victory is not about material accomplishments, but about character, about the values we uphold that others can carry forward. Imagine inspiring someone to face their own challenges with strength because they saw how you handled yours. Imagine teaching resilience, not through words, but by example, so that others are empowered by your journey. It's this ripple effect that transforms personal victories into legacies. Victory isn't a destination, it's a way of being. It's about choosing resilience, embracing purpose, and creating a legacy that goes beyond ourselves. Remember, the strength you build today is a gift to your future self and to those who follow. So keep showing up with that inner victory, no matter what comes your way. Thank you for being part of Stoic Journal. If this resonated with you, dive deeper with one of the videos on your screen, and let's keep growing together.